We're back. Here we are, Leicester City Down Under, and we're co-streaming and joined today by Craig from Dallas Foxes. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, mate. You ready for a little bit of a therapeutic rant?
You can rant. I'll be the anti-rant. How about that? That way we can cover both sides.
I think I've ranted enough, to be honest with you. I've kind of calmed down a little bit now after the weekend. Craig, did you go and watch at the club that you normally go and watch at the bar? Sorry.
Yeah. We were at the Londoner pub here in Dallas, and several of us, the Dallas Foxes, were there. We watched it. We spent we were excited for about 5 minutes and depressed for the other 85 minutes of the match. So, and got a lot of good ribbing from the people there who were there watching the other matches. Who, it's a lot of fun hanging out with those guys. We get a lot of good camaraderie going along. It's a lot of good banter, but every once in a while you just want them to just leave and stop talking to us. And Saturday was one of those days. So.
I fancy Charles getting kicked out, cussing at the TV after watching that car crash. I don't think I could have watched that.
Well, that was, he was with me. I actually had to give him a ride. So, as soon as the match was over, we actually had our stuff all packed up and ready to go before the match was even over. We didn't even want to stick around. Usually we'll stick around and have another pint or something and watch the first half of the next match or it's coming on or something. And as soon as it was over, we left. We were so depressed. So sure you had the same feeling. So.
Mate, I was 100% with you there. Well, look, let's get into this car crash of a post-match roundup. So here we got Ruud van Nistelrooy with his new assistant getting to work straight away. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Does he have enough time? Let's get into that.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, mate, go on.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, he's been there one training day. So there's not a lot of time to go on. Here's my little rant real quick. If you're going to make a managerial change, pick a better time to do it. Because we had Brentford on Saturday and we're coming back in on Tuesday with West Ham. There's not a whole lot of time to work with your team in there. So make it earlier, or maybe maybe you should have waited until after the Brentford match or something. Top should have done that, but I would have liked to have seen a little more time for him to have with the team because he's only going to have 2 practice sessions before West Ham. I really hope our fans do not judge him based on this one match.
Yeah, spot on. So we're going to get into that. I just pulled up the wrong slide, unfortunately. I think that he hasn't got really obviously a lot of time to do it. He's obviously going to want to start to implement his style over the next, 8 games, but I don't think he has a lot of time either. But at the same time, you would say, oh, well, don't change it. There's not much to really change. But it's not where, you say don't change it too much when you haven't got much time to implement your style. But at the same time, what we're doing is just simply not working, is it, Craig?
No, it's not. But what we're doing though is we're not having. I don't think we're getting the right players on the pitch in the right places, and I just don't think they're motivated right now. I mean, maybe you would have think after Cooper was sacked and the new managers in the stands watching with Top and Rudkin, and they're sitting there, but they might actually might put a little more effort into it other than what they did on Saturday. And it wasn't there. So maybe something will happen when the new manager comes in and starts doing something. But I think there's a little bit of effort here that needs to be dealt with much more than just our players themselves.
And what would you say that is, mate? Let's start with the defense. That was abysmal.
We've been talking left and right about how we need a striker. There's a lot of people who can say we need a striker, right? I don't understand why we need a striker. We've got Vardy, a little older. I got it. We got Ayew, who's okay. Not really a primary striker, but he's okay. Dockett's back. We had this guy, Edward, we brought in for a loan. We are focusing on the wrong thing. I know nobody wants to score goals. We need to stop goals going in. That's what we need to do. And the only way to do that is to shore up our defense. We've got to figure out our center back positioning, and we've got to figure out what's going on with JJ and that side over there. Because if you noticed Saturday, Brentford kept going up that same side up against JJ. Who was that over there with him? Was Foss. And they were just in shambles. they were just in shambles, and it's been like that all season. So I'm trying to figure out what Van Nistelrooy is going to be able to do to fix that with the players we have right now before we get to the January transfer window.
Spot on, mate. And I think that it was obvious as well. Like a lot of people are saying, you know, for the middle, the striker option, there was I without a doubt now think that like our wholesale change is just about as needed for our defense. I think it's been absolutely abysmal, particularly of Wout Face, mate. I'm just getting something up here, and then we should be ready to go. Sorry about this. I've just stuffed up my ear. Talk to me. Like, that was awful from Leicester City. The morale is up even worse now. I kind of called it a free hit before we begin to play because I thought that, you know, we've got this assistant manager. He's probably not going to be here, or first team coach, Ben Davies, I think his name is. I forgot his name. Cooper 2.0, awful, mate. Like, just really, really just a kind of nothing. You could even see when the players walked out the tunnel, mate, like the morale was just not there. JJ looked awful again, just coming out even the tunnel. The players looked like they didn't want to be there. Do you think that Ruud van Nistelrooy can give them that oomph and that managerial bounce that we need?
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, if he's not, it's really going to get bad. I mean, if you look at our schedule over the next 6 weeks, our next 6 matches, it's going to get really tough, with the exception of Wolves. And Wolves isn't as bad as their record shows, so let's not assume that that's going to be a gimme. But I'm hoping he can. You know, my thing was, I think he's, because of his age and experience, which isn't a lot of experience, but the experience he does have, he can relate better to the players, closer from an age standpoint and an experience standpoint from playing in the Premier League, playing in the Dutch league, and what it takes to actually win and to score, and what it takes to actually, you know, how to set up a defense to prevent people from scoring. I'm hoping they're going to be enthused by this. Now, if they don't, that's not going to be on Van Nistelrooy. That's going to be on the players. And you're talking about wholesale changes. It's going to be tough with the money that we're so restricted now. We're just not going to be able to do that in January. And if we get relegated, you know, it's not, next year is going to be, I mean, we don't even want to talk about what happens if we get relegated, because that's a whole nother subject. But you know, if the players aren't reacting to Van Nistelrooy, it's not going to be on the manager. It's going to be on the players. And you're right. There's going to have to be, you know, it's going to have to be a fire sale to get guys out and get people in who actually want to be here.
So do you think that we really need to tap into the loan market? Like, we're going to see over the next 8 weeks, aren't we, Craig?
Yeah.
It's plain to see that it's basically almost nearly a brand new back four. Do you think that Ruud van Nistelrooy can start to get a tune out of, you know, the likes of James Justin and stuff like that? People that are really down on confidence right now with his inspiration. You know, I know he's not a defender, Ruud van Nistelrooy, in his heyday, but I think he expects victory. He knows winning. He has a winning mentality, and I really hope that he can really instill that into the players.
Just because your experience as a striker versus a defender doesn't mean you can't inspire your players, right? And you know, I'm sure some of that's going to be a little bit of him challenging them on the practice pitch, right? You know, he's going to be out there with them, going up against them a little bit. You know, I saw some video today of him out there, so I think that's going to help a little bit. But I think, you know, like you said, getting Justin's confidence back, that might just be sitting on the bench, or putting him in a better position that will make him successful to get that confidence back. Because right now, you know, I think he's so down. Speaking of him, that putting him out on that wide side out there on the defense, he doesn't feel like he can do it. And until something happens to give him the confidence back, he's just going to be a liability every time he's out there.
Every single time, mate, is expected to be a right winger, a right back. It's clearly not working, and you should think that will be the first thing that Ruud van Nistelrooy does to sort out. I genuinely think he's going to play a 4-2-3-1 to begin with, and slowly work towards a mid block. West Ham, mate, like, talk to me. Like, they haven't been at their best either. They've been well below what they've been expected, particularly the money they've spent. Do you think that the King Power is going to be rocking? Can you see it getting toxic if we concede early?
Well, no, I don't think it's going to get toxic. I really don't. I think, you know, it's the Tuesday night, which might be a better chance. You know, there might not be as many seats there, but then again, it's his first match, so it might be sold out. I haven't looked to see if it's sold out or not, but, you know, I think the players, I think the fans are ready to get behind this new manager change and see the positive behind it. But I think what's going to happen if our defense, or if we get up a score quick or something, you're going to see them turn on the players. they're and they started doing that last week at Brentford when they were talking about this is chanting this is unacceptable and things like that. So I think the fans have finally got to the point. Hey, we got Cooper out of the way. Now we have this other guy in here. Okay, if things don't improve, guess what? It's not the manager. It's the players. And I think you're going to see the fans turn on them pretty quick in the next couple of matches if things don't, at the very least, improve on what they've shown. And West Ham is a great home match to try and get some of that back. Even if they don't win, you've got to show improvement and you got to show a positive outcome. Even if it's 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, something like that. As long as it's competitive and positive, I think the fans will stay there. But if they start doing what they did against Brentford, they're going to turn on them quick.
That's the biggest concern, isn't it? Because he hasn't got a lot of time, and it's that bad at the moment. I do think we're going to definitely but we need to, mate. But I do think we're going to get behind him, and I think that he's going to give a bit of leeway. And obviously by January, if he gets backed, then we've got to get it right. And I think that's really on Glover and the recruitment department. But we have to go with an identity. I think that we're still paying with the consequences, mate, of the recruitment that we saw under Brendan Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of duds, a lot of players walk for nothing. There's a lot of things that we can question the board about. We've talked about it obviously at length already. But if we can get this recruitment right, mate, whether it be the loan market, I think that we can definitely start making some strides. Now, I want to talk to you, mate, because I can't get my slide up right now, and it's driving me fucking crazy if anyone can't notice. So I'm just going to have to go about it. It's fucking distracting the shit out of me. If Caleb Okoli's all right, I just read here earlier before that he's going to be assessed. He may be available for the West Ham game.
Mm-hmm.
He was that clash that he had with Mads Mans, and he's hurt his knee, but he's going to be assessed. He wanted to come back on, but he just couldn't. If Caleb Okoli is available, with what we've got moving forward right now, who is your duo partnership that we're going to have to see in the back four? I think for me personally, I'd like to see it be Yannick Vestergaard and Caleb Okoli.
It's definitely not Voss. He needs to go on the bench. He needs to sit there for a while. All right. And he had his moments a couple of years ago and everything, but something's going on. So let's just sit him. And, sometimes, being embarrassed like that is the greatest motivator you can get to perform. But I would agree it would be Okoli and Vestergaard at this point. Even Vestergaard's slightly a liability, mostly from, he's just not as quick as everybody else on the pitch. But he's pretty smart. He can defend. He can use his body, and so he's good on set pieces. So, and from that respect, I would have him there. My next one, Cody would be the guy if I had to bring somebody in after that. But even then, I'm looking at the roster right now of our center backs, and it's just, it's almost like you go, do we stick Ndidi and Chowdhury back there? That's kind of where we're at. Is we're not getting the performances out of those guys. Okoli's been pretty good. Vestergaard, serviceable is what I would say. So at this point right now, if we really get in a pinch, are we going to have to put somebody else back there who's not used to it, like Ndidi has done before in the past for us?
What are your thoughts on Ndidi? Do you think he's been poor the last couple of games, mate? I think that he's
been awful. He's been awful. I'm gonna, so I have to defend him to a certain extent because I really still think they're not always playing him in his strength. And his strength is playing in front of those two center backs. That's his strength. That's it. Don't try to do anything else. Don't try and play him forward to see if he can generate some scoring opportunities, things of that nature. Stop. Put him in the back. Get that triangle with him and the center backs to shut down that middle and defend it. And he is perfect there because he's quick enough. He can tackle. He can he can take the ball away from those guys. And he's good again, dropping back and helping those two center backs if they need a third person there. So to me, I just don't think he's been playing in the position in which makes him successful, which makes him look bad.
I'm sorry, I finally got this fucking thing on the screen. I feel better now. All right. Ken Root, your manager of bounds. We just talked about that. But look at that handsome Dutch bastard. Rocking a turtleneck underneath that ugly jacket. I love it. How bad? I gotta
go give me a turtleneck. So
I've got one on the way, brother. I can't rock it as good as him. It might hold my fat little neck, but I've got one on its way. This guy, let's talk about him. Without face, you arrogant fucking sideshow Bob looking idiot. Yeah. He needs, like you said, he needs to go on the bench. He's been calamitous. Both him and JJ have completely forgot how to track their man. What the fuck? Let's hope Ruben Nistelrooy can sort that out. Caleb Okoli, Yannick Vestergaard. Now, if you want to talk about Indeed in that double pivot position, I think that he needs Winks alongside him, mopping up. He needs Winks and Vestergaard. They bring out the best in one another with their ball distribution. I think if you can have Harry Winks in the double pivot position, maybe indeed he's a good shout. I definitely don't want him as a 10 or a high 8 again. I just don't think you can do that in the Premier League. It's just that his first touch just leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. And I think his stats early this season flatter him a lot. Samari, what did you make of Samari in that game, Craig?
I like Samari simply because of his size. I like the fact that he will actually get in and try to bully people around, which I think we need a little bit of that kind of edge, that bullying edge, which we don't get. I think we have people who try to be too finesse, and sometimes you just got to go and just push people over. And Samari is that kind of guy, and he also can't be pushed around either. I think the only issue with him is that every once in a while you'll see him, take a play off to call it out here in the, what we say in the States, hey, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna set this one out. You can't do that. You've constantly got to be moving and put yourselves in a position to be successful. But at the very least, he's a big body who can actually, do some work there that we just don't have. I mean, we just don't have the person who can do it, and he's all we got right now. So I appreciate him on there. He's a little bit of a liability, but at the very least, he's a big body out there.
He's good going forward, man. I just don't find him as good coming back. But he did pick out some brilliant passes in that game, to be fair, in moments, very few and far between. But he wasn't his worst game. Yeah. Craig's not a fan. He's yet to really establish himself as a proper, consistent player. But he's been not bad the last couple of weeks. But I'm still that double pivot position is probably the most depth we have. I know we're missing Pereira and Winks at the moment, but Skip, for example, I think has been getting a bit of stick. Now, I definitely think there's a player there. I think maybe you could say we overpaid for him, but I still think that Skip, if Winks is not available, Skip for me is who I want in my double pivot position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Skip's fine. I just think he needs more experience. That's all. You say we overpaid. We paid the going rate. That's what we paid. We paid to go and rate to get someone in there, and we may have paid $1 million or $2 million more, but we were going to have to. That's the issue, is that we had to. Now it's just for him to start producing. I would like to see more Skip, but at the same time, we have to put our best people out there. And if we have Vestergaard out there, Winks is a better choice with that. I just hope whatever is going on with Winks, he's able to recover here. I actually kind of hope Winks sits out this match against West Ham just to give him more time to recover, because I hate people who get injured and come back early and then re-injure themselves. It's just not good for the team. And I think this might be with this turnaround between when he got hurt and now, about 9 days later, I'm wondering if he might not want to sit out another match just to get himself ready.
Yeah, I would much rather. We've seen it happen too many times in the Brendan Rodgers, didn't we? We got players that got rushed back in, they got re-injured. We've seen it happen with JJ, Pereira, the list goes on. What worries me most is our players too dejected. If we have another loss, like you said, and it can get proper bad, people don't back Rude and the club, I can see it getting bad. If he can get up to a win against West Ham, maybe he can give that belief and that fight. Because another couple of losses in a row, and I don't know if it's just me and PTSD from when we got relegated last time, mate. But I can see the elements there already, and I'm just like, fuck, I can't do this again. It just looked like they gave up. That was the worst performance I've seen all season. I know we've been saying that it's been but that is the reality. It has been getting worse and worse each week. But by far, we think we can all unanimously agree in the comments, everyone watching, that was fucking awful. That fucking second half.
It was really terrible. It was only good for about 10 minutes from my perspective. But after that, it was really bad. There was nothing good to talk about. And are they dejected? They probably are. But the problem is they don't have it's their confidence. They just don't have the confidence. And I don't think Cooper gave it to them. I won't say he actually took it away, but he definitely didn't instill it in them to be out there and then come from behind. Like they did the first of the year, right? The first of the season, they had a couple of matches where they got down and came back. Well, as soon as that continues to happen over and over again, your confidence level goes down. And then when you start disbelieving in your manager, it gets even worse. So I think Saturday was one of those things where when they got that first goal up, they were excited, and then the next one within 4 minutes or 6 minutes, we were down 2-1. It was a confidence killer. They need somebody. They're going to have somebody come in there and fix that. Hopefully Van Nistelrooy can do that, but they also have to understand it's not something you fix overnight. There is a tough line of matches coming up over the next few weeks that they're just going to have to fight through it to be able to get and see if they can work this out and actually stay above relegation.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So that is the biggest issue. Like and I agree with what you were saying, but at the same time, I do think Cooper did take a lot of confidence from players, particularly JJ. And then if you look at Ruud van Nistelrooy here, he's probably just thinking, like, hey, what the fuck? I need to rip up that contract. Oh my God, what have I agreed to? I've just pants this team twice, and now I'm managing them, and they're getting rinsed by Brentford. To Brentford's credit, though, they played really well. But what's worse is when you see their manager coming out and saying, we thought it was going to be more hard than it was. Like, that's just fucking awful. Like, basically just like, even they're surprised. I'm like, thanks, mate. Does Ruud have enough time for West Ham? We just alluded to that. So, I think he's got time? No, but what I think, Craig, is this is now like, I think for everything you just said before, like that first team coach was basically just an extension of Cooper, so it wasn't going to inspire confidence. But what I can say is Ruud does inspire confidence, and what he does, and what, in my opinion, even if it wasn't Ruud van Nistelrooy, is the players that are on the fringes now have their chance to prove themselves. They're all going to be fucking giving it everything in training, like, hey, man, I want to be a man. I want to be in that starting 11, which is only good for competition for the sake of the squad to see who really is the best. And also, you know, I think that we could possibly pull this off. I really do, man. I think that the players are going to be excited to play for him. I can see us getting a result against West Ham.
Yeah, no, I think there is going to be the balance. Everybody talks about the balance after you get the new manager. I think the fact that it was just not a good lineup for us. I don't know. I mean, although, I've been, you hear both sides about what's his face, Luke Thomas, and how he played and why, all of a sudden he's starting in this match and everything. But to be fair, with West Ham being the first match that Van Nistelrooy's in, I would expect a better reaction from our team, a better reaction from these players. I think it's going to be interesting what his lineup is, right? I think that's going to be a little telling too. I think he's going to give an opportunity for some of these guys to go, I'm going to put you out there and see what you do. And you're going to have to prove to me that you need to be out there. And I think some of these guys are going to be a little more motivated than they have before because they know come January they could be out, or they can know January someone can replace them and they'll be on the bench the rest of the time. And, they might not be making they may not be making the bench later on. So it would be interesting to see. I think they're going to give a reaction on Tuesday. I'm hopeful. Hey, I'm hopeful we'll get a point. I think right. I think West Ham is there. I just don't know if 2 days of training is enough time to put something together for Van Nistelrooy. So I hope our fans are aware of that and understand it. He can't solve the problem in two practices, right?
No, we can't. But looking at this, like you said, why the fuck did Luke Thomas start? I want to know, bro. I want to know what I want to pick apart this lineup and everything, but it's irrelevant now because that first team manager's gone. But that's the most interesting thing. Who is Van Nistelrooy going to start? He's only got 2 days, but he's still going to have to make a decision in those 2 days. I mentioned before, is he going to tweak it? What's he going to do? But in my opinion, mate, everyone's going to say Faze needs to be dropped. Hopefully Colley's available, but come on, mate. You can't have Thomas starting again. Do you see Bilal making his way into the starting 11, Craig? I would love to see Boyanote and both Bilal starting. That would be brilliant. Well,
I think everybody, I think all of us have kind of said the same thing. We wanted Mavididi and Fatou to start at the same time, and there was also, we can talk about, Elkanas and Bonatti starting at the same time. I don't know why I understand Bilal is young. He's inexperienced, but you know what? Sitting him on the bench and playing him for 10 minutes a match is not going to get him there. And we're in a battle. We've got to figure this out. We have so many matches before we get to the point to where either we're going to be permanently relegated or we're going to stay above that line. And we can't wait around for him to start building up 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Put them out there. Let them go. I don't understand why we're taking these players and then we're bringing them in and we just don't play them. Is it the system? Is it their practice? I don't know. We don't know what Cooper was saying, right? But I will agree right now with Fatu out. It should be a lineup of El Kunus and Bonate and Mavididi out there, and then you put your striker in, and then you fill in everybody else around them to try and get the best defense you can. But at this point, if we want to score goals, we need people out there who can create chances, and those are the guys who can create chances for us. Despite Jordan Ayew, I'm sorry, I'm just not a big Jordan Ayew fan, but I mean, despite Jordan Ayew, those are the guys who can actually basically challenge the other players' defenders and do something to generate chances.
Yeah, I agree. I should not be starting. He should be a finisher. He's proven that he's a finisher, and that's great, and that's what he should be there for. But like starting because it's just like the impact of Mavididi is so much more intense than Ayers is when he comes. When Mavididi, every time he's come off the bench, who's played, mind you, more minutes than anyone last season other than Winks. It's like, what? Why the fuck is he not starting, man? I know he didn't play with wingers in that game, but like, still, look, people say holds the ball up well, and he does in some points. Don't get me wrong, he gets fouled a lot, draws free kicks, but at the same time, how many times did you see him come down that left-hand side against Brentford, and he was just too slow? Like, it's just like his football brain's there, does a lot of give and goes, as there is pros to his game. But in my opinion, if you're playing with wingers, mate, you want Mavididi. He's going to stretch the pitch. He's going to take his man on. He's going to you know what I mean? Like. It's criminal. So I cannot see a world where he's not starting for Van Nistelrooy.
Well, I think there it is right there. Is what is Van Nistelrooy's philosophy? If his philosophy is generating chances and goal scorers, then Mavididi needs to be out there. If his philosophy is possession and counter, then maybe not. I don't know. It's going to be interesting over the next few weeks to see what his philosophy is with the players we got, because I don't think he probably has the players he thinks we need, and we're going to be doing that in January. But anyway, we're going to see more over the next couple of weeks. But yeah,
I reckon he would have been presented with. This is maybe just me being hopeful, but I think when he would have sat down at King Power, because he fell out of PSV, not been back, and it was Gakpo and a lot of other players. I think Scraps pronounced that name wrong. He probably most likely would have been like, listen, this would be your budget potentially. And he's obviously going to figure out what he needs, but definitely he's already probably thinking, he would have been thinking that watching the game, like, oh my God, like, wow, FaZe, you're never going to look at this team again. Now, I have spelled Ipswich Town wrong. I'm sorry. I did this in a hurry. This is what's interesting. The game's coming up around us is, in a perfect world, all of these games draw and we get 3 points. So, because we don't want these people picking up points around us, because we've got Ipswich Town's playing Crystal Palace, Southampton is playing Chelsea, which I'm pretty confident in Chelsea to be able to absolutely smash them. Maresca's already destroyed Southampton twice already. I'm sure he's got much more to use and at his disposal with the squad that they have at Chelsea. Now, Everton are playing Wolves. So, pull up the table around us. So, talk to me, Craig. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? It's getting very, very close. Tells a bit of a lie. We are 16th, but we are like one win away from relegate. From anyone beneath us.
Whoa. I mean, we're a point above Palace, but we have one of the worst goal differentials, right? I mean, so if we ever get to a battle where it's goal differential, we're not going to be in a good position. So we've got to, that's one of the reasons we need to shore up our defense, is to shore up that stat as well. But I mean, if you look at this, I mean, I said at the beginning of the season, I think after about 5 matches, my two teams to be dropped were Southampton and Palace. And then my third one was going to be a battle between Ipswich Wolves and us and Everton. I still think that's the case. I just don't think Palace is as good as I mean, they only have 9 points. We only have 10. I don't think any of us are all that good right now. But I think Palace is way worse than we are. Southampton, we know what that is. But these are the matches where, like today was a great example. This weekend was a great example of we need the teams to win that are battling these lower ones so that we can maintain where we're at. Us losing and then the teams below us, basically, I think we had a draw and 3 losses, which was great for us, But, that's what's going to be is tough is that, what's going to happen when they start playing each other, which is what's happening right now, so Ipswich and Palace, what do you do? Who do you cheer for? Who do you root for? I mean, you do root for the draw, right? I mean, so But every once in a while you're like going, I really would like, I'd really like Everton to beat Southampton just to ensure they stay on the bottom. We've got to keep at least one of them down there. So it's going to be tough running matches for everybody. All these teams are in the same place we are, right? They're scrapping for points. They're hoping, and I think I said this to someone else today, which was, everybody's like, oh, we need to help ourselves. And it's like, we need to help ourselves. We've got to rely on others, and we need a lot of luck. And right now, we need a lot of luck is what we need to be able to actually maintain the position we're in, especially with the run of matches that are coming.
You could say that, yeah, but I don't want to be depending on people around us. I really don't. No. But at the same time, it does help. Chester, mate, thank you for tuning in today. Craig, Luke Thomas's first game, not played many games in the last 2 seasons. He was the worst. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch. What a throw he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Had a better second half.
Yeah. So let's be fair. For a guy who hasn't played in Premier League in 2 years, basically, 1.5 years, whatever, he actually didn't have a bad match. And I will say something that I think has been kind of expressed by others. He seemed to be the one that had the most fight in him. He was doing the most running. He was doing the most energy. Now maybe he was recovering from his bad passes or him turning it over. But at the very least, his effort was visible as opposed to some of the other players where it wasn't as visible. I just don't think he's a good fit. I just don't think he's, I think we have better players, and I think we can get better players into him. But at the very least, I think he was one of the only players who was trying to show off for Nestroy yesterday, that, hey, take a look at me and maybe you should play me more. Which, hopefully maybe they will, but I don't see it. But at the very least, he put out the effort. So it wasn't near as bad as everyone thinks it was.
I thought the first half was, to be honest with you. I have to admit, the first half, like every time he touched the ball was just like, fuck, Jesus. Yeah. Like, do you think he started because the Victor Christensen's played every game? Do you think that with the quick turnaround that some players had to be rested, and that's why we saw that foreign starting 11?
So I wondered what was going on with that, with the quick turnaround, with not having Cooper in there. We had Dawson in there, who was our caretaker, with Ben Nestor coming in. Was there some conversations of, hey, we want to give these guys a rest? That kind of thing. Are they counting minutes? I don't know. It would have been nice if we'd have been able to hear some of that or get some of that knowledge to go, hey, we're resting Christensen. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to rest him, and we have no one else to play, right? It would be nice to know that, what was going on. But I agree with you. I think for someone who hasn't played very much, yeah, his first half looked bad, but his second half looked much better, and he looked like someone who actually he moved forward in the game. As the game went on, he got better, right? So, from where he started, there was nowhere else to go but up. And I think he did okay in the second half. But he's not a long-term answer, that's for sure.
No way. But you're right. The second half, there was a few times where he was getting more advanced up the pitch when we were in possession. And basically, he just hasn't got a cross on him like Victor Christensen has. But also, there was a few times where he put himself, and he was 100%. There was one moment of that game, I can't remember. It was like he was completely the correct pass to make. And it was by the point when Mavididi was on the pitch, and he was well up on that, left-hand side, and Mavididi just didn't pass to him, whether that was because he didn't see him or because he doesn't trust him on the ball. Yeah. I don't know. That's a bit of a speculation right there. But look, that second half was just, I don't know, mate. Like, again, like I said, I don't want to pick into this too much because that first team coach isn't here anymore. It's going to be a new brand. But again, like, we can't defend. We can't build an attack. I really hope that is over the next 3 to 4 weeks, mate, can start getting that cohesiveness back from back to front.
So you mentioned earlier about playing, what was it, a 4-2? I mean, if we're hemorrhaging goals as much as we are, I mean, would a back five be better? But my issue with that is I don't think we have the players to do that. And you kind of saw that on Saturday, right? I mean, that was kind of, when they put that lineup out and I saw that, I was like, okay, is it a 4 or is it a 5? And it kind of mixed between the two. But for me, I think we're better off with a 4. Simply, I think we have the players who can do that. I think we have the players that we can get out there and help. Like I said, put Ndidi back there in front of those center backs who can help shore that up a little bit. At the very least, get us a fighting chance. I think trying to play a back five and having those wide guys, having them push up the pitch, that just kind of left exposed Foss. I mean, if you didn't watch the match, I mean, good Lord. So anyway, you can call what you Sideshow Bob? Is that what it is? Sideshow Bob? Yeah.
Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob.
Fucking idiot.
It very much exposed him. Being in that setup exposed him, right? It exposed him because you call it a back three, but so many times, especially on the counter, it's a back. You call it a back five, but on the counter, it's a back three. And you have to have players who can perform there. And he's as a back three, he's not it. I mean, maybe a two. Okay, we can look at that, but not if it actually turns into a real back three. And that's just something that he was very much exposed on. He's had bad matches up until now, but I think Saturday exposed him royally to what he can and cannot do.
Do you think I want to change this, but I'm going to pull it up on screen anyway? I would love to see El Canoes in a double pivot and a more advanced, almost like Hasey's skip play at the start of the season, the more advanced of a double pivot. But the problem is that if we need to drop into a back four, 100% and everyone's going to be saying El Canoes can't drop in as a right back. No, he can't. So you can make an argument that you could maybe have Canoes if Winks is not available, and possibly Ndidi as the one that's inverting. So he can drop in, he can help, but again, he hasn't got the passing range on him that Ricardo has, but he has played centre-back before. But basically, if we were to play a back three, this is how I would like to see it. I would like to see Vestergaard be the builder. I'd like to have Winks in front of him. We get the best out of each other. And then Okoli's your right-sided centre-back and JJ back on the left, where I think he's better. Boyanote and Ayew as your holding eights. Boyanote, obviously an absolute machine. Likes to trip in. I think the problem is I want to see, but this is why I've done this, because I want to see Bilal and Boyanote in the same 11. But I think that if you have Boyanote as your right winger and Bilal as your 10, I just think that whoever's on that right side, whether it be Okoli, where it's most likely going to be JJ, they're going to be exposed no matter what, because they're going to be expected to get further at the pitch because Boyanote drifts in. So I think that this is a very experimental, and I'm probably going to get rinsed for this, but I'm just very, very curious. But I've kind of just debunked it now with the whole idea of we can't drop into a back four of Kudus there. But Ayew and Boyanote's high eights, though, and Mavididi, McAteer is really our only option. The right wing, Vardy up front, very interesting. We have seen, and Vinicius likes to talk about building of a 3-2 shape, but he does change it in possession. He likes to attack with 2 10s, which is very interesting, which could be Kudus and Boyanote. Out of possession, he likes a mid-block. I'm very, very curious to see. Like, that's what I'm most excited to see is how the starting 11 is going to be against West Ham, and then what it's going to look like when they're on the pitch, in and out of position.
Well, I don't have a lot of issues with your lineup here, actually, and I think Mavididi can help JJ out on that side over there. So he's shown last year and even this year that he's willing to hustle back and get in the mix on the defense and everything. So there's some help there at the very least. And McAteer is the same thing. He shows that he's willing to actually put the work in. So I think I don't think this is experimental. I don't think you're going to get a lot of shit for this or anything like that. I mean, but I still think, like you said, I think if you're going to go back three, that's probably your back three, because we know we can't have Vestergaard and Foss on the pitch at the same time in a back three. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So I like this with the athleticism of Okoli and Justin. At the very least, they're two faster of our defenders. I won't say they're fast. They're faster. They're no Kyle Walker or whomever you want to pull out as being fast to defenders. But I think this is a lot better from that perspective. And I think Mavididi and McAteer can help out in that defense as well, as long as they're not too far forward. It would be interesting to see, and I agree with you about having El Canoes and Bonate on the same side. I don't think that's a good mix. I think having them where you have them now is a better shape for them. I think they will feed off each other better, because they can do the back and forth to try and open up the lanes of passing through that central defense there on against West Ham. So I'm like you. I'm excited to see what Van Nistelrooy is going to do. I think what's going to happen, this is my prediction, I think what's going to happen, I think he's going to see over the next few matches, he's going to try a few different things based on the players he has, and then he's going to settle on something, and he's going to go, this is what we're going to go forward with, and in January we're going to shore it up with some people we're going to bring in, and that's it. So I think he's going to need 2 or 3 matches to figure out what his shape is going to be based on the players he has and based on the people he's going to bring in or hope to bring in January.
Yeah, that's it. Hope. Oh my God, the word quote hope. Mate, I really hope so too. Craig, that was an awful game, but I'm feeling positive now that Ruud van Nistelrooy is in charge. I'm really looking forward to the game. That was a nothing game. Credit to Brentford. No matter what you want to complain about and what excuse you want to make about Leicester, you have to give credit to Brentford. I think they look really good. I think they've done really well as well, particularly after losing Tony, which is a huge loss. So credit to Brentford. Damsgaard played an absolute sensational game. They were brilliant, and best of luck to them in the games going ahead. We only have ourselves to blame. So, look, Craig, give us a shout out, mate. What have you got planned on your channel? And give us a shout to everyone.
Oh, yeah. So you can find us on all the social media at Foxes on the Box. That's the official Dallas Foxes supporters group. We have YouTube, all that other good stuff. This week, we're going to be doing a show this week, probably after the West Ham game, simply because we didn't schedule one in between, and we usually do ours either Monday or Tuesday. So we're going to do ours after the West Ham game, possibly Tuesday night, and because we might get more like the immediate game reaction after that. Being here in the States, we usually do ours late. So Charles and I will be on there if I can ever get that dipshit to do something. I mean, if I can get the green hair now that he's retired out of a job, so. But yeah, give us a shout at Foxes on the Box. You can find us all over. And yeah, by the way, Luke, thanks again for inviting me on. Love coming on and love chatting with you. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you joined. I appreciate having you on as well. And sorry, I got so distracted the first 10 minutes trying to find the stupid fucking slide. Doesn't matter, mate. You carried me, man. It was all good.
I didn't even notice. The whole time I just thought we were just chatting. So you covered it up really well. So good job.
You covered me, brother. Guys, take care. If you like all this stuff, like and subscribe, please, to both channels. Go ahead. Foxes in the Box is a brilliant channel with Craig and Charles. They're just starting out. Give some love like everyone else helped me in the community, and we'll catch you on the next one. And let's hope Ruud van Nistelrooy walks out with a sexy fucking turtleneck and he wins the game without facing the side, and then he just goes to the touchline of some shearers and just shears that stupid fucking wig off his head. I'm Luke from Leicester City Down Under. Take care and have a good one.